Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Dragon Cave. My name's David, and oh boy, the World Cup has started in Qatar, and everybody's all talking about human rights violations and all of the slave labor that was used to build all this massive city of theater or of stadiums and the killings and of the just all of the bad stuff that's been going on with this World Cup. And it's sort of layered on top of the rest of the bad news that's coming out of that particular area of the world, with the riots and something 400 people killed now because of this burqa riot that's going on. I think they said it was Iran. But the point is, there is a real problem with today's. I hate to say like the liberal left. I hate to say that because I consider myself kind of part of that whole thing there. But there is a problem with this, and it is the problem of evil. There is evil in this world, and there's a genuine belief that we can talk ourselves out of it. That we can talk to these people and fix the world's problems. This is one of those situations. It's one of those things where trying to have real serious discussions about this stuff leads to some very bad outcomes. Especially when we're talking about like censorship and freedom of speech and whatnot. Now, I'm a proponent of the idea that freedom of speech is, the government can't do this to you. So if you go onto a website like Reddit or YouTube or Twitter or anything like that, and you're seen as promoting violence, they're going to ban you. They want to cover their bases. It has nothing to do with them wanting to send a political message. It's just that if you get up, there's and not unreasonable fear. There's this not unreasonable fear that if you as an individual go up on Twitter and promote violence and then it causes violence, that can cause problems for Twitter. It absolutely can. It absolutely does. But there's a level of liability about moderating people's behavior on these platforms that the investors and whatnot want to want the developers to be cognizant of. If Twitter starts, well, Twitter's on fire right now for different reasons, but if YouTube, for example, Google and what have you, can be seen as facilitating rhetoric and what have you, promoting violence and whatnot, that would advertisers would be like, hey, you need to cut this out or we're not going to put ads on YouTube videos anymore. And so you, as a creator or as just a person who's just commentating and whatnot, you can be silenced. You can be, you can be silenced. Essentially, speech can be curtailed. Where do we go to have an honest conversation about violence? About the necessity for violence. Most people who are reasonably well versed with how the world actually works know that violence is a last resort, right? But it's not off the table. A purely pacifistic method of dealing with the world is just a capitulation to allow the thugs of the world to have free reign. So a non-violent or completely non-violent situation or approach, I should say, a nonviolent approach to dealing with various problems of the world and whatnot is untenable. We run into a couple of problems, and one of my things, if certainly there's internet sleuths out there that'll find my Reddit profile and go digging through it to find horrible examples of how he's calling for all kinds of people to do all kinds of horrible. Yeah, what I'm basically saying is violence is a last resort. Okay? And two problems that come into it. One that's my favorite is who gets to tell us it's last resort time? Right? Who gets that dubious honor? Who's the one that gets to tell us time to use violence? And what do we do if they're wrong or a coward? Right? I can make a whole video on that one in particular, but there's another problem with violence. And that is the idea that it must be, like it's a zero-sum game. It's blood and death in the streets, or kittens and bunnies and bonfires and kumbaya. Like, there's no nuance in these. Violence is, a police officer with a badge and a gun. Doesn't have to have a single shot fired, just the presence of them with the authority and ability that makes the threat actual. So but here's the thing, in the public square, like if I want to go to a council meeting, in Georgia, go to a council meeting with the mayor or something, call in and stuff like that, and be like, when we talk about the judicial use of violence, that's a public forum, and the government can't silence your speech. You're free to say things like that. Where in the other public spaces can we have those kinds, that kind of conversation? This is another problem, because there's this prevailing wisdom, if you will, that violence is never the answer. It should never be considered, and that's it. We should only ever talk about peaceful solutions. Well, Qatar and Iran and these places and stuff like this, they thrive on that. They thrive on our inaction and inability to commit to making the world a better place by acknowledging that there is, in fact, evil in the world, and it will not be reasoned with. Okay? The only reason that a cabal of people, almost exclusively men to be sure, can get enough money and power and weapons and fanatics that follow them to round up people and kill them because their religious edict says that women have to be treated, we have to put women in cloth bags. The only reason something like that can exist is because everyone's going, no, we can't just kill these people and put them and their terrible ideas in the ground. Okay. Now, just saying that, it sounds like David's calling for the destruction. He's calling for violence. He's calling for, yeah. What I'm calling for is an understanding that for a lot of people on this planet, and in a lot of situations on this planet, violence is the answer. It may not be the answer that you want to go through, but there's a great number of people out there who absolutely do use violence to get what they want, and it works. And why is my camera keep auto-focusing? I hate that stuff. But yeah, they use violence. They're perfectly fine with using violence because it works. And nobody is punching back. Nobody's hitting them back. Everybody knows you want to get the bully at school to stop, to leave you alone. You got to hit him back. Words don't work. We'd like to believe that. We desperately, peace-loving people want to be like, but I want to reform them. I want to talk them out of this and turn them into an ally. And they have evidence. They have proof that it works because they talked their uncle out of it, or they spoke to a friend or whatever. Yeah, that's not how the real world works. This is why conflict and war happen. Because ideas are actions in potentia. If that's a hard thing to believe, or if that's a hard thing to wrap your head around, you have to understand that your beliefs will inform your actions. And you can be held responsible for that. If you're an engineer and you believe that 2 + 2 = 5, then when the bridge you build inevitably collapses, you can't be like, yep, it was my, you can believe what you want. When your beliefs inform your actions, they're the problem. And when you believe that women should be treated like second-class citizens and put in cloth bags, and your actions follow, yeah, you can point to this. So these people have a belief system that is evil. We can't say that. They will not be stopped by peaceful means. We're not allowed to acknowledge that. You have to have the doctrine. There's no other way. You have to talk to them. And forever the streets are soaked with the blood of the innocent. Until they kind of get tired of it. And then we start having serious discussions about how to handle evil in the world. The left wing in America ain't ready to have that. They aren't. They genuinely believe that there are peaceful solutions to the various problems we have in the world. They're wrong. The kind of creature that can be reasoned out of those kinds of behaviors and beliefs and actions is not a human that lives in the 21st century. Maybe humans of the future will evolve and be better than what we can do, but we can't right now. Whatever it is about our species that we're in this right now, some people can be reasoned with, some people can't. But where can we go to have those kinds of discussions? Here's the other thing about this. This is, again, what I believe. I would love to be proven wrong about this. I would love to have all kinds of evidence and information be presented to me to show me that the world doesn't actually work that way and that nonviolent solutions are the best thing to do with extreme situations like what's going on in Iran and what's going on in Qatar. If you genuinely believe that you can show up with literature and a smile on your face and talk an entire generation of men who've been raised to believe that their mothers and sisters are second-class citizens and don't deserve human rights, why aren't we doing that? If you genuinely believe that there is a string of words that you could utter like a magical spell and it would change people's hearts and minds, because that's what this is about, is winning hearts and minds, why aren't we saying those words? It's because we know that they don't work. And nobody wants to face the uncomfortable fact that the current method is inaction. We just stand by and watch women and girls get slaughtered. We just stand by because we know that to act would for us to be the killers. We don't want to do that. We love life. We love humans. I don't ever want to take a human life. I don't ever want to kill nobody. I don't want to get that's something for other people and bad people, right? You know? Well, turns out there are a lot of people out there that understand and know that very often violence is the answer. They join forces like the Marines and the Air Force and armed forces and Army and Navy and the Coast Guard and police forces, and they arm themselves with weapons and training and knowledge on how to kill people. Because they understand that, yes, sometimes violence is the right answer. Last resort. Go do all the peaceful things first, but it's a last resort. But somebody's going to have to do that. Somebody's going to have to be the one that performs the last resort. And right now, there's not enough who have the fortitude to do it in America. We're too convinced of the efficacy of peaceful negotiations. An organization, criminal organization like FIFA, should not exist. They don't need to be shot and killed. They don't need to be dragged into the street. Again, violence can be a man or a woman with a badge and a gun and a room with bars on the windows and a key. That's a violent solution. You're taking someone's freedom away from them by force. Not a drop of blood has to be spilled. But we're not willing to do it. We will tolerate it because it happens over there. It doesn't happen here. It isn't affecting us. We tolerate it. We look and we watch as our fellow human beings are treated like cattle. I don't know what a solution to this is either, because it seems to me that this is a clash of two ideologies that is drowning out the third. There's violent solutions to problems, and they get what they want. Non-violent solutions to problems, and sometimes they get what they want. And the squishy middle, where most of the time we try to be non-violent, but sometimes we have to be that way, is being squished out. It isn't there. And more on social media and stuff like that, where our actual conversations between people take place, we're being told we're not allowed to even have these kinds of conversations. Bring it up and you get banned. That's not good. But then again, I don't know what would be. Nothing would please me more than to be absolutely proven false on all of this. I'm just calling it as I see it. And a situation like in Qatar is not going away nonviolently. It's like the situation in North Korea. You're not going to walk into Pyongyang and talk to the generals and family of Kim Jong Il and them, and convince them that they don't that they're evil with their with the way that they treat their people, and how they starving people out, and just how bad things are there. You're not going to do that. You're not going to walk into the Kremlin and have a conversation with Putin and him suddenly have a change of heart and realize that Crimea and Ukraine deserve independence and freedom because they're fighting and they earned it. He doesn't get to just be a play. These words don't work that way. If they did, we could just set up megaphones and fix the world's problems. But I think that another problem is that we're not even allowed to have the conversation. We get silenced. We get told that you're a knuckle-dragging Neanderthal if you can't think of a better way than to smash your way through your problems. You have to be smarter and better than that. Okay. How's that working out for you? Fascism is on the rise here in America. Domestic terrorism. Look at that shooting that just happened at that Colorado nightclub. Where's the nonviolent solution for that? I don't know. What frustrates me is that there isn't a framework where we can have this discussion without extreme censorship and moderation that basically renders it useless. I fully suspect that this video might very well might get taken down, because it can, a very clear case can be said that I'm making a call for violence against the ancient and proud culture of the people of Qatar, as if just being from that region or in that area is somehow indicative of being an evil person. They can twist your words just about any way they want. There's subtlety and nuance here. And there's subtlety and nuance in all of this. But then there are also lines in the sand. Who do we go to and talk to about this? How, in what form, in what area, in what way do we have an honest and serious discussion about the discretionary use of violence? Because there's people in this world who don't have that. They don't have the scruples, the time, or the effort, or the energy to have even conversations at all about that. They just get weapons, use violence, and they get what they want. And they just go on about their lives. And who cares who they crush? And Qatar is a place where that seems to be happening. Iran is a place where that seems to be happening. Because you believe that women should be in cloth bags, you can order over 400 now, almost 500 people murdered. Where's the nonviolent solution in that? And if there isn't one, where do we go to talk about what to do with the when it's time to go last resort? It's not our country. Like, I'm an American, so it's not even it's not like a domestic thing. It's someone else. We're going to kick someone else's door in and tell them how to run their lives. We've done it before. I don't know. Well, it's gonna get crazy. But that's been my thoughts on that stuff. Thank you for watching. See you next time, and have a good one.